You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back. This is Where You Live with Gene and Tony, and we're broadcasting from the Natural Green Lawn and Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Stone Valley Painting and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency, and Extreme Exteriors. You can count on Extreme Exteriors for expert installation of exterior siding, roofing, soffits, fascia, decks, windows, and more. With their knowledge and experience, they can design the perfect solution to make your home beautiful and energy efficient. Call Extreme Exteriors at 763-441-1334 and tell them you heard it here on Where You Live. Time now to hear from the Community Associations Institute. The CAI Minute is brought to you by New Concepts Rental Management. Whether you're an accidental landlord or a seasoned investor, New Concepts Rental Management can help you achieve your financial goals. New Concepts Rental Management can advise and guide you through every aspect of the business. Give me a call, Tony Crockett, at New Concepts Rental Management, 952-922-2500, New Concepts Rental Management, 952-922-2500.
Are you a member of the Community Associations Institute? For nearly 40 years, CAI has provided education and resources to volunteer homeowners who govern community associations and the professionals who support them. Visit caionline.org to learn more. That address again is caionline.org. CAI helps community association board members by providing online resources, in-person training, and hard copy publications written by association management experts. CAI offers community managers professional development, networking opportunities, and a certification program that's established as the industry standard nationwide. Minnesota has its own chapter of the Community Associations Institute to bring resources and tools from community associations around the country right to your home. Visit CAIMN.com to learn more and become a member of CAI today. Your community and management company will benefit from your involvement. Join the Community Associations Institute today at CAIMN.com and click on Membership.
We've been talking to attorney John Eden from Levin and Eden about a story in the news this week. A sex offender suing his condo association because when he got out of jail, came home to his condo where he'd lived since 2008, the association posted notices on everyone's door saying sex offenders are not allowed to live here. Now, John, it appears, we're assuming by this story, that the governing documents of the association already have an amendment about sex offenders, saying sex offenders cannot reside there. My question is this kind of going into slippery territory or new territory to restrict someone based on the kind of person they are?
I think it is, Tony. That's a real good point. As you mentioned before the break, in rental housing, we already do background checks and restrict rentals based on that. Those types of residency restrictions are far more likely to pass muster than an ownership restriction. And if somebody is perhaps a member of an association, gets convicted of an offense, goes to prison, comes back, and how are you going to be able to enforce that sort of a ban? Also, retroactivity is very difficult to enforce in just about any situation. It pretty much, you're going to have to count on some sort of grandfathering provision.
Good point. Good point.
Part of this, in this whole discussion, Tony and I talked about this before the show, there's an emotional component, John, you can't get away from, and I don't know that you necessarily should. When you're dealing with someone when you're dealing with an issue like rape, it's so much different than someone who stole a few $100s from someone. If someone steals a couple $100s, you want to get those couple $100s back. When you have stolen something such as when you've raped someone, now you've taken away something that can never come back to that person again. And I think we have a society that says that is asking the question, I don't know if the debt to society has really been paid. Don't you think that that's part of what people deal with these kinds of issues?
Absolutely, Gene. I think that recognition is demonstrated by like the Megan's Law and the notifications that we do have in place. And I think that we've all heard the horror stories of reoffense and the horrible things that happen, and so we have a special sensitivity towards these sorts of crimes.
Yeah, and a lot of people seem to say, "Oh, yeah, I understand that someone who has been a sex offender needs to live somewhere." But they will always finish the sentence, and if not, they're saying it in their mind, but just not in my neighborhood.
That's right. Well, not in my backyard. NIMBY
Exactly.
is the acronym. Yep.
You know, it's interesting because I come up against an issue like this when I'm renting a townhome for an owner that's within a homeowners association. Many, many homeowners associations require renters to go through a criminal background screening. We do that for all our renters, regardless of where we're renting the home, but I cannot assure my renters that they're not moving into a neighborhood where there may be criminals residing because none of the owner occupants have gone through a criminal screening.
That's right. And under most state scenarios, if this person is a level 1 or a level 2 offender, you may not know because there's different reporting requirements, and they're not. It's not public information until level 3.
Can you for our listeners share a little bit different? What are the differences between the level 1, level 2, level 3?
Well, level 1 is considered unlikely to reoffend, and that sort of notification is pretty limited, I believe. A level 2 is a moderate likeliness to reoffend, and then notification usually goes out to like schools and daycare centers or those types of entities in an area. And then level 3, that requires the local law enforcement, sheriff or police department to schedule a community meeting, and otherwise, notify everybody of the planned movement into a community. And we've heard about that in Minnesota, where somebody's getting out of the St. Peter facility, for instance, and is planning to move to St. Cloud, and the sheriff in St. Cloud has to deal with the community notification aspect.
So in a case like that, again, I guess we should state that I think Minnesota just states that people need to be notified. There is nothing further that states the person needs to be 500 feet away from any known children, 1,000 feet, anything like that. It's just when you're at level 3, the community has a responsibility to notify its citizens, right?
That's correct. And practically speaking, this really it's a real pickle for an HOA. I mean, we're dealing with volunteer boards, and if they were to see the need for some sort of restriction like this, I mean, how are you going to enforce that? And does that create a duty to monitor? And how are you going to be able to monitor?
That's a really good point. It seems to me if their governing documents state no sex offenders can live here, that means they have to be screening everyone who wants to buy, correct?
Right.
And perhaps they have to screen them every year to make sure that nothing has happened.
Exactly. And can you imagine living in an association and your board coming to you and asking you, okay, we're going to submit another criminal charge?
But here's the bigger question, guys. That was interesting. We know what the law says, but the question, and this is what Tony posed earlier, and that was, but should they have the right to do that? I mean, let's not talk about that. I mean, should it be the right for an association to be able to put that kind of restriction in the governing documents? What do you think, John?
Well, I think that personally speaking, from a moral standpoint, I certainly can understand the impulse, and I would certainly look for a way to do it. However, being the lawyer and knowing how the legal system works, it's just fraught with difficulty and challenges. And even if you were able to establish a reasonable basis for the restriction and the enforcement and get by constitutional challenges, you're going to have to fight this as an HOA, and you're going to have to spend a lot of money in some sort of court because likely this offender is going to be using some sort of a pro bono or that sort of challenge to your case. So they're not taking it as financially hard as you are, and so it becomes a very long and onerous process with an uncertain outcome.
And you know what's going to happen. All you need to have happen is someone to move in to a HOA who is a known sex offender and does commit again and within the community, and you know that all holy heck is going to break out again, and people are going to say to the association, "Why didn't you protect me? Why didn't you do it?"
Oh my gosh!
Right?
And even more so if you had a ban and you missed that person, and something happened, that would really put you on the hook because you're taking that responsibility on.
Yeah.
A very tough situation indeed, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, hey, John, thanks so much for taking some time to be with us on the radio today.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Folks, that was Attorney John Eden with Levin and Eden. We're going to take another break. Don't go away. So much more of Where You Live after these messages.